Welcome to the Parent Advocacy Resource Team for all ages and stages of parenthood. I'm Irene Gouge, founder of Loving Lessons Sleep Consulting and Postpartum Doula Solutions, and your host today at the Parent Advocacy Resource Team. We partner with parents to create a trusted network of professionals to provide families with solutions to navigate the journey of being a family. And we do this through education, advocacy, empowerment, and connection. And here at Part today, we have our special guest, Leslie Lockhart with Positively Apex. And she is an Apex influencer with a mission to share and create a positive community resource, news, and initiatives through a community magazine that she does online and social events, and the community residents and businesses can engage and thrive. Welcome, Leslie.
Thank you for having me.
That's a lot of stuff you're doing these days.
Yes, keeps me busy for sure.
Yeah, I can't wait to dive into that. Before we get there, one of the things that we like to do here at Part is we like to talk about the things that maybe we don't like that we do or say as parents. Sometimes we may not intend that, but this community here is a perfect place for imperfect parents. So do you have any of those moments to share with
Absolutely.
Our families?
Food and nutrition have been a huge struggle for our family, having two working parents. And I always thought I would never be the mom that said, cereal for dinner or whatever. It's been a real struggle. We get takeout way too much, working on trying to change those habits. But yeah, it's hard. I mean, when you're both working full-time jobs, sometimes at home, sometimes not, and you're just tired at the end of the day, and then you're like, okay, I just gotta get through the day.
Oh, I totally hear you on that. Although I will say breakfast for dinner is one of my favorite things.
Mm-hmm. Same. I love breakfast food, and I hardly ever eat a proper breakfast at breakfast time. So I'm not like a get up and eat person. So yeah, do like breakfast for dinner.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to encourage anyone who's watching this right now to post a comment down below if you have ever done breakfast for dinner, if that's your favorite part. Hit like and comment down below. Let us know what you're making for dinner. That would be really great. All right. So Leslie, tell me a little bit about what you do here with Positively Apex. How did you get started in this?
Yeah, so about 8 years ago, I work with a company called the Into Co, and it's a franchise magazine system that works with different neighborhoods across the country. So I found this company through a friend 8 years ago and started a program and magazine for one specific neighborhood in Apex, North Carolina, and did it for 7.5 years. Fine. Got me through beginning stages of parenthood with my daughter. Right after I started it, I got pregnant and I was almost 40. So I had a difficult pregnancy. And so at that point, I was thankful for having my own business that was flexible. I could basically work part-time hours. And, if I had a bad day, I didn't have to do much. And then I had horrible postpartum issues, which I'm sure a lot of people can relate to. So it was really a godsend during those years. But then last year, now that my daughter is 6 and in first grade, a year ago, when she started school, I really started thinking, because of the growth of the Wake County and North Carolina Triangle and Apex area specifically in the last decade, and since I started this, and because of my growth in the community and influence and reputation and relationships, I really wanted to do more with my platform and make more of an impact. And so I decided to expand it. I'm on the board of the Apex Chamber of Commerce and just know everyone, the mayor and businesses and people. And so I wanted to expand not only the magazine portion, but my whole program as a whole and my brand. So I created the Positively Apex brand earlier this year as a way I was really inspired when at Christmas time this past year, I was at my in-laws. They live in the country, so there's really nothing to do, no service for your cell phone, to go to run and get food. It's like, an hour round trip. So you're kind of trapped there. So they sit there and watch like all the newscasts and I was watching the news and it was just so depressing. especially the last couple of years of what's going on in the world. But there's always trials and tribulations in the world, no matter when it is. And so I was like, I want to be the opposite of that. Like, there are plenty of places people can find out what's really happening in the world. And not that I want to be ignorant. That's not my platform. So I wanted to create a place, not only online, but in person, that creates good, shares good that's going on in the community, connects people, helps grow businesses, and just, provides whatever services and resources I can. So that's what I'm doing with Positively Apex. My website has a blog. I have, my business partners listed there that I prefer in the area, resources in the history of the town and the area. So, and part of what I do is events out in the community. So I get people together and really create relationships.
That's awesome. I love that you're celebrating all of the good things that are happening, because it can be so heavy sometimes. And I think that there is a lot of good happening in our communities, but sometimes we don't know how to get connected to them. And you are that connector, bringing that out. So you mentioned that you have a magazine, so it only goes out in the Apex area. Is that correct?
Right. We do have similar magazines in certain locations in the area, as well across the country. I would say that not all of them, most of them aren't taking the extensive branding approach that I'm taking, but they do still do events in a magazine that connects people, tells the stories of the residents, their pets, their kids, all that kind of stuff. Which is the heart of my program. But as I grow, I have a vision to have a nonprofit that basically is a community fund. So if we're doing a big event, it's a fundraiser, we would put it into a fund. And then if someone has a urgent need, like a house fire, or, a car runs through a business's front window and they have a high deductible and they're a small business is crippled by that, or, scholarships, things like that, we can give out grants to the community. And then also want a storefront at some point to have as a community space, souvenir shop, just coffee shop kind of thing.
Wow. Lots of big things coming for Positively Apex.
And in the future, maybe even Positively Raleigh, Positively Holly Springs, that kind of thing.
And you can branch out. That is awesome. And so what do you think, what would you like people to know that you really do, instead of like maybe what they think that you're doing? Because sometimes people don't understand the works behind that magazine.
Right. What I don't do is basically find neighborhoods to do a program for. These are already kind of preset. What I do is the way I make my money is working with local businesses to help their exposure and relationships while also connecting the residents in the community. My events are public now, instead of just focused on one neighborhood. So even though they're pretty much focused in Apex, they are open to the public at large. But I'm just finding creative ways to especially build up the local businesses, because I'm a small business, you're a small business. A lot of us, make our money and our living by having our own business. And so I'm trying to just wrap it all together. So we have that town square feel.
I love it. And I saw in one of your videos, you are like the marketing queen.
Yes.
As to what you do. And so what tips would you have for busy parents who are part of our park community, and thinking about marketing their businesses?
Well, there's so many different ways to market, some of them free, of course, but you get what you pay for. So a lot of times the free things take a lot more time, which is very precious, and time is money. So really researching, even if it's not my program, mine's a relationship-based program. There are many ways, and they wouldn't exist if they didn't work for somebody. But just asking on Facebook is a great way in the park community, or like groups, networking groups, to say, what marketing ways have you used? Because there's so many like-minded people, and I believe in collaboration, not competition, and we can all help each other. And, I'd love to work with the right businesses if they choose me. And I can honestly say there's really, if someone wants to reach the Apex community, there really isn't another program out there that does all of that I do for the price that I do it. So definitely a plug, but there's so many things online, print, and everything else in person. So.
And I have a question for you, Leslie. Can people who are not in Apex share their stuff with you?
Absolutely. As long as they want to engage in the community in Apex. I actually don't live in Apex myself. I live in Willow Spring. But I say I identify as an Apexian. My life is based in Apex. I just sleep at home and, that's why I've really thrown myself into the Apex Chamber organization. And, most of my clients are in the Apex area, and I try to utilize my clients. So my doctor and therapist and that kind of thing, all these people that I use personally are in the Apex area for the most part, or Holly Springs or Cary or Fuquay. And then that's why I want to have a storefront at some point to have a presence physically.
Okay. Well, that's good to know, because you know what, a lot of times I think businesses feel like, oh, I can only do this in my town. And they forget building community with neighboring neighborhoods and things like that. And so here I thought you lived in Apex. I was like, she's positively Apex and loves it, and lives out in Willow Springs. So that's awesome. And if someone is looking for an influencer, because that's what you are here, like what kinds of questions would they want to be asking? What kinds of things should they be looking for in someone to be a support for them in their business?
Like, if they want to be an influencer?
No, like if they're looking for an influencer to help their business.
Oh, to help their business. Social media is key when it comes to influencers, Instagram. Basically inviting them to come and see their place of business if they have a brick and mortar, or, having a one-on-one for coffee, and just, it's about getting to know each other. I'm in a lot of networking groups and organizations and communities. And, people think sometimes you go to this group and you have your little 30-second introduction, but you still don't get to know someone. And it's really important to get to know them, how they started their business and why, to really see how you can not only possibly work together, but who that would be a good fit for them. So just basically meeting as many people as they can and seeing who they know. That's the key.
Gotcha. And what would you say is the challenge that you think most parents face when they are a small business?
Juggling that schedule. If your kid, you don't want to say no to your kids if they want to do some sort of extracurricular activity, and such, but everyone's situation is different, and just, it takes a village. And, finding, now that I'm in, like, my daughter's in school, we've connected with a couple of other parents, which sometimes can be challenging because they don't share the list of contacts. So you have to depend on your 5 or 6-year-old to send a note. But once you do that and you bust through, you can start collecting names, and social media, of course, helps. And sometimes you have to do a little bit of Facebook stalking to figure out, somebody's parent. But that is the best way, is just connecting with other people in the community that can maybe help. Like, I have a couple of my daughter's friends' parents that I've connected with as approved pickup for school in case, I need that help, and vice versa. Yeah. So that is really key to that.
That is a really great tip, Leslie. And I think that a lot of times here in the park community, one of the things we may not realize is the importance of having those family friends that can kind of help fill in those gaps throughout the day. Because sometimes when you're a busy working parent, being able to have someone who can help, and
people want to help. If they're able to help, people, a lot of times, especially as women, we feel like we're being a burden, or we don't want to inconvenience somebody. But I've always had, when it comes to a job or anything personal, it never hurts to ask, because all someone can say is no. And if they say yes and they didn't mean to, that's on them.
I would agree. That's an absolutely great point. Because again, it's really about recognizing that as parents, we can't do it all. And, creating a community of people that can kind of help come alongside you, whether you're in business or working somewhere, whatever the situation is. Like, I think that's just a really great tip to share. I know that I think it was really important for me when my little ones were younger, having built-in play dates, so this way I could have some focused work time, because otherwise, when do you get things done with littles running around? And if somebody is looking to get connected with you, Leslie, how would they be able to find you?
Well, my new website, positively-apex.com, will have basically all that anyone would need to know, in including resources for the community, great businesses, but also, of course, how to contact me. But my email is positively@gmail.com. And then my phone number is 919-745-0494. So
great.
Message me through social media anyway, so.
Well, we will have all those links down below so you can get connected with Leslie and see if you can be in part of her Apex community, regardless if you live there or not. But she'd love to connect you with all the amazing people that she knows and a lot of parents out in that Apex area.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Leslie, one of the things we like to do is talk about our self-care tip here with PART, because again, busy parents. Is there something that you do to take care of yourself?
Yes, that's very important. I have anxiety issues and past depression issues, and I tend to be one of those yes people. I have a hard time saying no. I want to help everyone. And so I overstring myself. I've been like that for my whole life. Like in high school, I was in marching band, orchestra, and theater all at the same time, plus every club I could be at. I've just always been that way. I don't know how to sit still, but I have been trying to be better about saying no if it, just when I can. But I have the fortunate situation of owning my own magazine that I can barter for people, for businesses to have an ad and be a part of my program. So what I do a lot of times is do a partial barter where they pay me some just to cover my cost. And then I barter on top for massage or facials or chiropractic or physical therapy or acupuncture, things like that I know are important and help me if maybe I can't afford them. Now, everyone is in that position, of course, but if you can just work in every so often a mani-pedi or whatever your preference is, that's so important. And I feel like as moms, we take care of the little ones and the household and everybody else so much we forget about ourselves. But I make a point to schedule that on my calendar regularly. At least once a week, I have some sort of appointment.
I think that's a really great tip. I sometimes call that like a more focused self-care tip, something that I'm going to get out of the house and look forward to.
And if someone can't do like those kind of things, that they don't have the budget to do things like at a massage or something like that, then for me, friends, socializing and being with people is key. Like during the pandemic, when it's first, I was only truly quarantined for a few weeks because I can't work that way. My whole business and life is about meeting people and being around friends. So, I was careful, but I have to be around people. So it's just carving out those self-date nights to be with friends, and it's important to carve out times if you have a husband or anything without the kids.
Yeah, for sure. I think, again, it's really important. Like, it sounds like you really know who you are and what you need and like meeting that need. And I think sometimes, one of the things we're hopeful that in the PART community, we're all learning and growing together, realizing, hey, it's okay to take care of myself. And we can hopefully let go of some of that mom or dad or parent guilt that we might be carrying.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I do want to ask you, when you are doing your magazine, do you write all of those articles?
I write a lot of them. I have gotten a few people in the community reached out that like to write and write for me as well. I'd like to get more. Budget is limited, so I'm still mostly a one-woman show. I have a couple of interns and a couple of writers, a couple of photographers, but other than that, it's me juggling the events, the writing, the sales, everything. But as I grow, I'll be hiring people to help me with that. So if anyone is interested in a part-time work from home type of thing, they can contact me. I can put them on my list for when I am hiring.
That's awesome. Well, that would be a great opportunity. Local businesses supporting more local people. That's a great way to grow in our communities. Well, Leslie, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure talking with you and getting to know you and who you are and what you're doing. And thank you to everyone here with PART, the Parent Advocacy Resource Team, where we partner with parents to navigate this journey of life and being a family. We'll see you next time.